There's a sacred moment that happens just before your consciousness surrenders to the night. A moment when the veil between the physical and spiritual worlds becomes almost transparent. A moment when what you whisper to the universe can be heard with crystal clarity. This is not just any moment, it's a divine appointment with abundance that most people miss night after night, unknowingly bypassing the gateway to their financial transformation. What if I told you that the final thoughts you entertain before drifting into sleep have the power to reprogram your relationship with money while you rest? That the ancient wisdom of prayer, when aligned with the natural cycles of surrender that happen during sleep, creates a powerful vortex for manifestation that works while your conscious mind rests. This is not a coincidence that you're hearing these words today. The very fact that this prayer has found its way to you is already a sign that abundance is seeking you out, recognizing in you a vessel ready to receive. There's something different about you. Perhaps you've been sensing it yourself. A readiness, an openness to finally breaking through the invisible barriers that have kept prosperity at arm's length. Tonight, before you close your eyes, you're being invited into a sacred covenant with abundance. A covenant that bypasses the logical mind that says impossible and speaks directly to your spirit that knows all things are possible. This prayer isn't just words, it's a key that unlocks dormant abundance codes within your very DNA. Codes that have been waiting for the right time, the right words, the right spiritual alignment to be activated. The universe operates on principles most never discover, principles that govern the flow of resources, opportunities, and financial blessings. Like gravity, these principles work whether you understand them or not, whether you believe in them or not. But when you consciously align yourself with them, especially during those precious moments before sleep when your subconscious is most receptive, something miraculous begins to unfold. What makes this prayer different is that it bridges the seen and unseen realms. It acknowledges both the practical reality of money, the bills, the debts, the dreams waiting for funding, and the spiritual reality that says abundance is your divine birthright, always available, always seeking expression through willing vessels. As you listen to these words tonight, something will shift in your energy field. The frequency of lack that may have been your constant companion will begin to dissolve, replaced by the unmistakable vibration of abundance. This isn't wishful thinking, it's spiritual science, the kind that has transformed ordinary people into channels of prosperity throughout the centuries. The words you're about to hear have been carefully chosen to bypass resistance, to speak directly to both your human need and your divine potential. They create a bridge between where you are financially and where you're meant to be. They invite you to cross over from the land of not enough to the promised land of more than enough. Tonight, as you lay your head on your pillow, as you allow these words to wash over you and penetrate your spirit, you'll be participating in an ancient tradition of evening prayer that has preceded countless financial breakthroughs throughout history. The darkness of night becomes not an end, but a beginning, the fertile void from which new prosperity will emerge with the morning light. Are you ready to cross the threshold? Are you ready to experience what happens when faith meets the right spiritual words at the right spiritual time? Then take a deep breath and let's begin this sacred journey toward the financial abundance that has your name written on it. Do you ever find yourself staring at your bank account, feeling that familiar knot in your stomach? That mixture of anxiety and disappointment that comes when the numbers don't match the life you know you're meant to live. I understand that feeling, the weight of it, the way it colors everything else in your day. Have you been working hard, doing everything they told you to do, yet still watching others prosper while you struggle to make ends meet? You're not alone in that frustration. Many nights, countless people just like you lie awake, wondering what invisible force seems to be working against their financial breakthrough. Perhaps you felt the shame of having to say no when your child asks for something simple. Not because you don't want to provide it, but because the money simply isn't there. Or maybe you've experienced that moment at the checkout when you're silently praying your card won't be declined, a prayer born of necessity rather than faith. Do you remember the dreams you once had, the visions of financial freedom that used to excite you before reality seemed to crush them one by one? Those dreams were not random thoughts, they were divine whispers of what's possible. Seeds planted in your spirit that have been waiting for the right conditions to grow. What about that business idea that keeps returning to your mind, the one you've pushed aside because where would the money come from? Or that opportunity you couldn't pursue because financial limitations held you back? Each of these moments has left a mark, hasn't it? Each one a small wound in your relationship with abundance. For some of you listening now, financial struggle has become so familiar that you've almost made peace with it. You've lowered your expectations, convinced yourself that this is just how it is for people like me. You've watched others receive sudden windfalls, unexpected opportunities, or financial favors and thought, that never happens to me. The constant calculations, deciding which bill can wait another month, what necessity can be postponed, how to stretch what little there is to cover what's needed. This mental math exhausts you, doesn't it? It drains the energy that should be flowing towards your purpose, your joy, your service to others. And perhaps the most painful part is feeling that somewhere, somehow, you've missed a spiritual principle that others seem to have grasped. You've prayed before, you've given when you could. You've tried to be grateful for the little you have. Yet the floodgates of heaven have remained, from your perspective, frustratingly closed. Some of you have even begun to question whether God plays favorites when it comes to prosperity. You look at others in your faith community who seem blessed financially and wonder what they know that you don't. What they do that you don't, or worse, what might be wrong with you that abundance passes you by. The nights when unexpected expenses arise, the car repair you weren't prepared for, the medical bill you didn't anticipate, the price increases on everyday items, these moments have left you feeling vulnerable, haven't they? Exposed to financial winds that seem to blow constantly against you rather than carrying you forward. For many, there's also the burden of financial secrets, the debts hidden from family members, the true state of affairs concealed behind a brave face, the private tears when no one is watching. Carrying these secrets alone has been another weight upon your shoulders. You've tried positive thinking, you've recited affirmations, you've visualized abundance. Yet when you open your eyes, the same financial reality stares back at you, seemingly unchanged by your efforts. This disconnect between spiritual practices and tangible results has left you questioning whether financial breakthrough is truly available to you. I want you to know that these struggles you've faced, they're not punishment. They're not evidence of your unworthiness. They don't define your value in God's eyes or your destiny in this life. They are simply signs that there's been a disruption in the divine flow of abundance that was always meant to reach you. Tonight, as we pray together, we acknowledge these painful realities not to dwell in them, but to release them, to name them so they lose their power over you, to bring them into the light where they can be transformed. Your financial story until now has been written partly by circumstances, partly by decisions made with limited understanding, and partly by spiritual principles not yet fully activated in your life. But the beautiful truth is this: financial stories can change in a single moment when the right spiritual key unlocks the door that has remained closed. That moment can be tonight as you allow these words to penetrate not just your mind, but the deepest places of your spirit. What if I told you that the solution to financial limitation has always been closer than you realized? That it doesn't require another degree, another job, another business strategy, though these things have their place. The primary key to unlocking abundance has always been spiritual in nature, always been available through the power of aligned prayer. Prayer, not as a religious ritual or desperate pleading, but as a sacred technology that connects your needs with divine supply. Prayer that aligns your spirit with the abundant nature of the Creator who formed galaxies, who designed seeds to multiply 1,000-fold, who programmed the very universe to expand continually. As it is written in Philippians 4:19, "And my God will meet all your needs according to the riches of His glory." Notice it doesn't say according to the current economy or according to your past financial mistakes or even according to what you deserve. No, it says according to the riches of His glory, an unlimited supply, an inexhaustible source, a measure that transcends human limitations. This isn't prosperity theology, this is prosperity reality. The understanding that the same God who clothes the lilies of the field and feeds the birds of the air has made provision for you, provision that is activated through faith-filled prayer and aligned spiritual understanding. When you pray from a place of spiritual authority rather than lack-based begging, something shifts in both the seen and unseen realms. Doors that remained closed to striving and struggling suddenly open to spiritual alignment. Resources that seemed unavailable to logical planning become accessible through divine orchestration. What makes prayer before sleep particularly powerful is the receptive state of your subconscious mind during these moments. As you drift towards sleep, the analytical, doubting part of your mind relaxes its guard. The mental barriers that have blocked abundance, the negative beliefs, the fearful projections, the limiting stories you've told yourself, become temporarily suspended. In this sacred space between wakefulness and sleep, new programs can be installed in your spiritual operating system. Think of it this way: during the day, your conscious mind is like a vigilant gatekeeper, carefully filtering what can and cannot enter your belief system. But as you prepare for sleep, that gatekeeper begins to clock out for the night. The words you hear and the images you entertain during this transition have direct access to the control room of your prosperity consciousness. This is why the ancient practice of evening prayer has been associated with miraculous provision throughout spiritual history. From manna appearing with the morning dew to unexpected checks in the mail, the pattern is clear. Night prayers preceded morning miracles. The prayer you're about to participate in works with three spiritual principles that govern prosperity. First, the law of recognition, acknowledging God as your source rather than seeing your job, business, or circumstances as your supply. Second, the law of declaration, speaking words of abundance and provision with authority, creating new realities through the power of faith-filled words. And third, the law of receptivity, opening yourself to receive with gratitude, removing the unconscious blocks that have prevented prosperity from flowing freely into your life. Tonight's prayer isn't just words, it's a spiritual transaction, a divine exchange where you trade fear for faith, scarcity for abundance, limitation for possibility. As you participate in this prayer with your whole heart, you're not just expressing wishes, you're exercising spiritual authority over your financial atmosphere. Are you ready to step into this powerful spiritual solution? Are you willing to let go of the limited ways you've approached financial increase and embrace this sacred pathway to provision? Then prepare your heart, still your mind, and let's move into this divine appointment with abundance. Now, before we enter into this powerful prayer, I want to invite you to take a simple action that will signify your readiness to receive. This isn't just a symbolic gesture, it's a physical declaration of spiritual positioning, a way of saying to the universe, I am ready to participate in my financial breakthrough. I want you to place your hand over your heart. Feel the rhythm of your heartbeat, that miraculous pulse that has sustained you through every financial challenge you've faced. This beating heart is proof that the same Creator who designed such an intricate system of life support has not forgotten your financial needs. As your hand rests there, take a deep breath in. Hold it for a moment. And as you exhale, release all the financial worry, all the scarcity thinking, all the doubts about provision that have been stored in your body. Let them go with that breath. Now, with your eyes closed, I want you to visualize your financial situation as it is right now. Don't judge it, don't resist it, simply acknowledge it. This is your starting point, not your destination. This honest recognition is your first step of faith. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to do something very specific. After this prayer concludes, I want you to write down a simple declaration in the comment section below. I receive financial abundance now. This isn't just a comment, it's a public testimony of faith, a stake in the ground that marks this moment as the beginning of your financial turnaround. This declaration does two powerful things. First, it anchors this prayer in your reality, giving your faith something concrete to hold on to. Second, it creates a ripple effect of prosperity consciousness that will touch others who see it, creating a community of belief that strengthens everyone's faith. For those listening who may feel hesitant to make such a declaration, understand that this step of faith is like the widow in Scripture who gave her last coins. It seems small, perhaps even foolish to human eyes, but in the spiritual realm, it positioned her for supernatural provision. Now take another deep breath. Feel your body relaxing, your mind becoming receptive, your spirit opening to receive. These next moments are sacred. The words you're about to hear and agree with in your spirit have been carefully chosen to align with divine principles of abundance. As we move into this prayer, I want you to recognize that you're not just a passive listener, you're an active participant in a spiritual transaction. Your faith, combined with these words, creates a powerful force that begins rearranging circumstances in the unseen realm even before you see the evidence in your bank account. Are you ready? Is your heart prepared? Is your spirit open? Then let us begin this journey into the prayer that will stand between your current financial reality and the abundance that awaits you on the other side of tonight's sleep. Gracious provider of all things, I come before you now in this sacred moment between day and night, between striving and surrender, between what has been and what is yet to be. I acknowledge you as the ultimate source of all wealth, all provision, all abundance. Every resource in the universe flows from your limitless supply. Tonight, as I prepare for sleep, I release the weight of financial worry I've been carrying. I unclench my spiritual fists that have been grasping at security, trying to make things happen in my own strength. I surrender my financial situation completely into your capable hands. Father of lights, from whom comes every good and perfect gift, I thank you that even as I sleep tonight, you neither slumber nor sleep. Your work of provision continues uninterrupted by darkness. While my body rests, your divine economy remains active, moving resources, aligning opportunities, preparing blessings with my name on them. I speak now to the mountains of financial lack in my life. Be removed, be cast into the sea. I speak to closed doors of opportunity, open now by divine command. I speak to the seeds of prosperity I've sown through work, through giving, through faith. Multiply, grow, produce a harvest beyond what could be expected naturally. Lord, I ask you to forgive me for the times I've doubted your willingness to prosper me. Forgive me for the times I've believed the lie that poverty is somehow more spiritual than abundance. Forgive me for limiting what you can do in my financial life because of past disappointments or current fears. Tonight, I choose a new narrative, one of expectation, of abundance, of supernatural provision. I declare that my bank account is not at the mercy of the economy, but is connected to heaven's unlimited resources. I declare that my income is not limited to my salary or business revenue, but is supplemented by unexpected blessings, by favor, by divine connections that bring increase. As I sleep tonight, I ask that you would dispatch angels of prosperity to work on my behalf, rearranging circumstances, whispering ideas into the ears of those who can open doors for me, bringing my name to remembrance for those who can bless me financially. I pray for divine downloads while I sleep, business ideas, creative solutions, pathways to increase that I haven't considered before. Plant these seeds in my subconscious mind so that I awaken not just with physical refreshment, but with spiritual insight that leads to practical abundance. Tonight, I specifically release the financial burdens that have felt most heavy. Pause the debts that have seemed insurmountable. Pause the bills that have created anxiety. Pause the dreams that have been deferred for lack of funding. I name them in my heart before you, not as complaints, but as opportunities for your miraculous intervention. Father, you know the exact amount I need for complete financial freedom. You know the precise resources required for the vision you've placed in my heart. I thank you that even now, those resources are being gathered from the north, south, east, and west, drawn by your divine magnetism to fulfill your purpose in my life. I pray for supernatural debt cancellation. Just as in Scripture, debts were forgiven and slaves were set free in the year of Jubilee, I ask for Jubilee moments in my financial journey, unexpected forgiveness of what I owe, surprising settlements that favor me, divine wisdom for eliminating financial burdens more quickly than seems possible. I pray for favor with those who make financial decisions that affect my life, employers considering raises, clients considering contracts, banks considering loans, buyers considering purchases. Let them see value beyond what is visible, worth beyond what can be calculated, potential beyond what can be projected. I thank you for the seeds of generosity I've sown, remembering your promise that what we give is given back to us, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Let every financial seed I've planted in good soil through giving return a harvest 30, 60, and 100-fold in this season of my life. Lord, I ask for wisdom that leads to wealth, not just knowledge, but divine insight that positions me where abundance flows. Guide my financial decisions, my career choices, my business moves with your perfect wisdom. Close doors that would lead to loss and open doors that lead to increase, even when they don't appear promising to natural eyes. I rebuke the devourer that has consumed my resources in the past, whether through unwise decisions, through unexpected expenses, through investments that didn't bear fruit. No more will my finances be devoured before I can enjoy their increase. No more will my prosperity be stolen through the holes in my financial bucket. Tonight, as I prepare for rest, I visualize waking to financial increase. I see notifications of money received. I imagine conversations that lead to increased income. I envision opportunities that bring abundance beyond what I've asked or imagined. And I thank you now for these manifestations of your goodness, even before I see them with my physical eyes. I declare that money comes to me easily and frequently through both expected and unexpected channels. I am a magnet for financial increase. Prosperity recognizes my spiritual address and finds its way to me even while I sleep. No longer will I partner with words of lack, thoughts of insufficiency, or expectations of just enough. Instead, I align my speech, my thoughts, and my expectations with your promises of abundance. I am the head and not the tail, above and not beneath. I lend and do not borrow. I am blessed coming in and blessed going out. Tonight, I position myself as Abraham did under the stars, ready to believe that my prosperity will multiply beyond calculation, ready to trust the promise even when natural circumstances suggest otherwise. My faith becomes the substance of financial abundance I hope for, the evidence of provision I do not yet see. As a child of the Most High God, I accept my inheritance of blessing. I step into my divine birthright of abundance. I embrace my identity as one who is blessed to be a blessing, prosperous for a purpose, wealthy for a divine assignment that extends far beyond my personal comfort. Tomorrow morning, I will awaken not just to a new day, but to a new financial reality, one aligned with heaven's intention rather than earth's limitation. The same power that raised Christ from the dead is revitalizing my financial situation, even as I pray these words. Thank you, Lord, that it is done. Thank you that the transaction is complete in the spiritual realm and is now manifesting in the physical. Thank you for the peace I feel replacing anxiety, the confidence I feel replacing uncertainty, the expectation I feel replacing doubt. In this restful state, with these words echoing in my spirit, I prepare for sleep, knowing that while my body rests, your work of abundance continues uninterrupted in my life. My financial breakthrough is not a distant possibility, but an unfolding reality. And for this, I give you all the praise, all the honor, and all the glory. Amen. As the prayer settles into your spirit, I want you to remain in this receptive state. Keep your eyes closed if possible, your breathing deep and regular. What's happening right now is crucial. The words of faith you've just released are creating new pathways in your financial atmosphere, new possibilities that weren't available to you before this moment. I believe with complete conviction that your financial situation is already changing. Not someday, not eventually, but now. In this very moment, the invisible gears of divine provision have begun to turn on your behalf. This isn't wishful thinking. This is spiritual reality for those who understand how faith operates beyond what natural eyes can see. Right now, somewhere in your world, someone is thinking about how they can bless you financially. A decision maker is considering your name for an opportunity. A door that has long been closed is beginning to crack open. Resources are being diverted from where they were heading to where you are positioned to receive them. Can you feel that shift in your spirit? That lightness replacing the heaviness that financial worry has placed on you? That sense of possibility pushing aside the limitations you've accepted for too long? That's not emotion. That's spiritual discernment, recognizing that something has fundamentally changed in your relationship with prosperity. I declare over you now that unexpected money is finding its way to you. Checks are being written with your name on them. Opportunities with your specific financial fingerprint are materializing. Divine connections that lead to increase are being established. The very atmosphere around you is becoming charged with abundance potential. Where there were walls, there are now windows. Where there were ceilings limiting your income, there are now open skies. Where there were droughts affecting your financial harvest, there are now rain clouds gathering. Where there was delay, there is now acceleration. Your season of just enough is ending. Your season of more than enough is beginning. I see financial breakthroughs coming to you in waves, not just a single blessing, but multiple expressions of abundance arriving in succession. First the clouds, then the rain, then the harvest. First the idea, then the opportunity, then the manifestation. First the contact, then the contract, then the compensation. Divine order bringing divine increase. The debts that have seemed like mountains, I see them crumbling. The expenses that have felt overwhelming, I see them covered with provision to spare. The dreams that have been deferred, I see them suddenly funded. The businesses that have struggled, I see them suddenly thriving. The careers that have plateaued, I see them suddenly advancing. This very night marks a boundary line in your financial timeline. There will be before this prayer and after this prayer. The difference will not be subtle. The transformation will not be gradual. When God decides to move financially in someone's life, situations that would take years to change naturally can shift in a moment supernaturally. I believe some of you will wake up to notifications of money received. Others will receive phone calls with financial opportunities within days. Some will find favor in situations where you've previously been overlooked. Others will suddenly see wealth-building strategies that have been hidden in plain sight. Your hands are blessed. What they touch prospers. Your mind is blessed. The ideas it generates create value. Your words are blessed. They activate resources in the spiritual realm. Your path is blessed. It leads to places of abundance. Your connections are blessed. They link you to sources of increase. No more will you say, I can't afford it. Instead, you will say, I am abundantly supplied. No more will you say, there's too much month at the end of the money. Instead, you will say, my cup runs over with provision. No more will you say, that opportunity isn't for someone like me. Instead, you will say, I am positioned for every blessing with my name on it. The power of compounded prosperity begins working in your life tonight. Blessing upon blessing, increase upon increase, abundance upon abundance. Just as compounded interest multiplies in the natural, compounded faith multiplies in the spiritual, creating exponential rather than incremental growth in your financial reality. Tomorrow will not be like yesterday. Next week will not be like last week. Next month will not be like last month. The old patterns are broken. The old limitations are removed. The old struggles are ended. A new financial narrative is being written over your life, even as these words reach your ears. Rest tonight in complete confidence that the God who knows every hair on your head also knows every dollar you need. Rest assured that the same power that sustains the universe is now sustaining your prosperity. Rest in the knowledge that your financial breakthrough is not just possible. It is inevitable for those who have activated their faith as you have tonight. As we come to the close of this sacred time together, I want you to take one more deep breath. Feel the peace that comes from knowing your financial future is no longer determined by limitations, but by divine provision. Feel the hope that rises when faith displaces fear. Feel the confidence that grows when spiritual alignment creates material abundance. You've done something powerful tonight. You've participated in a spiritual transaction that has altered your financial trajectory. The prayer you've prayed, the declarations you've agreed with, the faith you've activated, these aren't just religious exercises, they're spiritual technologies that have set forces in motion on your behalf. Tomorrow, when you open your eyes to a new day, remember what happened here tonight. Carry this expectation of provision with you. Let it color how you see opportunities, how you make decisions, how you speak about your finances. Live from this place of abundance rather than from the old mindset of scarcity. And when the manifestations begin, when you see the first signs of financial increase, when you experience the first evidence of prosperity flowing more freely in your life, take a moment to acknowledge the connection between the seeds planted tonight and the harvest beginning to appear. For those of you who feel led, I invite you to write in the comments below, I receive financial abundance now. This isn't just a comment, it's a declaration, a testimony, an act of faith that solidifies what we've established in prayer. It creates a record of the moment you chose to align with heaven's economy rather than earth's limitations. And please, when your breakthrough comes, whether it's tomorrow or next week, come back and share your testimony. Your story of provision won't just encourage you, it will become a catalyst for others still waiting for their own financial miracle. Your breakthrough becomes someone else's belief builder. I bless you now with eyes to see the opportunities that have been invisible to you before. I bless you with ears to hear the divine whispers that lead to prosperity. I bless you with hands that receive what has been released to you in the spiritual realm. I bless you with a heart that remains generous even as abundance increases in your life. May you sleep tonight surrounded by angels of provision. May you dream dreams of prosperity that become your waking reality. May you rise tomorrow with a supernatural confidence about your financial future. And may you never again settle for less than the abundant life that has always been your spiritual inheritance. Thank you for joining me in this sacred moment of faith. Thank you for believing when it would have been easier to doubt. Thank you for taking this step toward the financial freedom that awaits you. Now rest in peace, knowing that your breakthrough is already in motion. Good night, and get ready for the miracles that await you in the morning light.